Hello, I am your host, Kathy Chester, and welcome to the Move It or Lose It podcast, a podcast about all things that move the mind, body, and soul. The Move It or Lose It podcast is for information, awareness, and inspirational purposes only. I am not a doctor, and I don't even play one on TV, so please consult your doctor before making any medical decisions. The views expressed by advertisers, guests, or contributors are their opinions and not necessarily the views of the Move It or Lose It podcast. Hello, welcome to Move It or Lose It podcast. And I'm excited to have today, we've got Nana. Okay, here I go. Everybody knows how I mess up names. Opong and Owusu, right? Did I say it right?
Opong-Owusu.
Okay,
Close.
so kind of, sort of. I practiced this with her 40 times, no lie. So Nana, we talked about how many weeks ago was it? Like
Maybe three.
4?
Yeah, 3 or 4
Okay.
weeks ago.
And I was so impressed with you. And I wanted you on my podcast, and you were like, talk about what? I'm like, what you're doing, not everything about you. So thank you for being on today. I'm really
Mhm.
excited to have you on.
Thank
And
you for
there's a
inviting me.
lot that I want you to talk about. So um, I want to first talk about graduating from Michigan University. So
Mhm.
and then you went from there to Illinois to get you got your at Illinois, you got your, let's see.
Master's.
Okay, nice.
Mhm.
Very good. So talk a little bit about that. What made you decide to go to Ann Arbor? You're from
Um,
Michigan, right?
I am from Michigan, originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So growing
Okay.
in the Midwest all along, I've always wanted to go to Michigan. And really, to be honest, it was because of the Fab Five. So I've always been in sports, and I wanted to go to Michigan because of the Fab Five as I grew up.
Okay. I cannot tell you how excited I am to announce my partnership with FootScientific. Their Elevate 360 drop foot solution is amazing. It's lightweight. It has customized sizing, which is amazing. I've been in braces where they are much too big and bulky. This one has memory foam. It's comfortable. I have walked my dog. I have run with it already. I have danced in it, and it is amazing. It has stainless steel anchors, which you can wear them in any shoe you want to. But to be able to have them connect to your laces so that you can lift the foot so that the drop foot isn't so bad and know that they're safe in there is so incredible. To be able to have this, to be able to have it on your ankle and then attach it to a tennis shoe, to attach it to a heel, actually, or a sandal is absolutely amazing. I cannot tell you how excited I am to be a part and partner up with Foot Scientific. They are truly here to meet our needs. So I encourage you to go on to the website at footscientific.com, check them out, and of course, use my discount code. It is MS Disrupted, all caps 30, and you'll get $30 off your pair. And also, don't forget 60-day guarantee. If it doesn't work for you, then you can return it. And that is why I love Foot Scientific. They're a company that truly cares about our needs. So don't forget, check them out. I love my partnership with them. Have a great day. So then, Nana, you graduated from Michigan in what year?
I graduated in 2003.
Okay. And then you went right to Illinois?
No, actually, so when I was at Michigan, I was on the pre-med track, took the MCAT
Okay.
a few times, my score fluctuated. I actually wanted to do a DO MPH program, and so with my scores fluctuating, I decided to do a 1-year, post-bac, classes at Wayne State University in Detroit.
Okay.
And then, I wanted to apply to medical school after that. That was the plan anyways, but I ended
Uh,
up opting to go to Chicago for my MPH first, Master's of Public Health, and then with the intent to go back to medical school. But that
okay.
changed when I found out about the field of clinical research, and so I
Uh,
went into that field, and that's now my career.
okay. Wow. So tell me, first, let's back up. When were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed in 2022, November of 20.
Okay. So you're still a baby with a
Yep,
diagnosis.
fairly
Yeah.
recent.
Yeah. So now, did you feel anything was like different back then? Did you kind of have an idea something's not right?
Meaning
Now,
in
when
my
you look
past?
back in your, yeah, like in the past, like now that you have it, because some of us can look back. Like I can look back before my diagnosis, and I knew something was didn't feel right. Are you have you been diagnosed long enough where you can kind of look back at your body and think, yeah, things weren't going really well? I can kind of see
No.
that.
Honestly, I can't, and I have heard stories of many people who say they had, symptoms or feelings
Uh,
as back as in their childhood. I oftentimes think about that and reflect, and there's nothing that I can think of in which I felt certain things that I can now attribute to the MS. So it
okay.
pretty much just came out of nowhere, if you ask me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so crazy how it works. So
Mhm.
different with all of us. It's so insane.
Yeah.
So, talk to me about what drew you into clinical studies and things like that. How did that?
So, I was into epidemiology, which is my focus in my Master's of Public Health program. We started talking about clinical trials and drug development, and it was just so interesting to me because it's a part of medicine that a lot of people don't really know about.
Yeah.
And the fact that, people think a drug is just marketed and that's it, but there's many, many years that are involved in it, in terms of,
Right.
for it to even get marketed. There's
Yeah.
phases of the drug, or different phases of the clinical trial rather, in which it has to go through before it's even FDA approved to get marketed. So
Right.
I thought it was just very interesting and it, grabbed my attention and here I am.
Yeah. So, talk to me about the negative, if you saw a negative and the positive in that,
In terms of what?
the studies that went on.
No, I don't necessarily see a negative and a positive. Obviously, it's all positive per se.
Mm,
If I were to say that there is any type of negative, it would be diversity in clinical trials, which is
yeah.
something I'm interested in.
Right.
Obviously, there's clinical trials for everything, which people don't understand, whether it's
Mhm.
a medicine, whether it's an implant for some reason in the body,
Right.
anything that actually goes into the body, there's a clinical trial for it. So when it comes to medicine, and we can use
Mm,
MS for example,
mm,
there's oftentimes people who, let's say the demographics are usually white.
mm,
May have some black people, but not enough. So when it comes to
right.
medication and fair representation, we can't necessarily say that this drug is beneficial in all racial
Right.
populations, all ethnic communities, if those communities are not tested in clinical trials.
Right.
So that's the one thing that I would say is sometimes a negative. I do think that companies are trying to be better about that, but it's something that you have to be intentional about in terms of
Right.
making your numbers reflect the population.
Exactly. I did a podcast on that. Gosh, now I think it's been like a year and a half,
Mhm,
and it was so enlightening for me. And I let them know I was a white girl, and
mhm.
because I didn't know if they knew that. But I was so appreciative of the honesty and the talk that we had. And I wanted to ask you this. Do you feel like it's both? It's a combination of fear of doing um, a trial and the companies as well?
In terms of African Americans,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
primarily it is fear, and it's it resonates all the way back to many many years ago in the Tuskegee experiment. Um, I think that it's getting better. I think
Mhm.
that knowledge is also getting better
Yeah.
because, with that stigma, a lot of people just have that fear and don't necessarily know the backgrounds of clinical research. They don't know that there are safeguards. They don't know that,
Right.
they have what's called an internal review board, which is there for
Mhm.
patient safety. So at any point in time, someone can get out of a trial if they want to.
Okay.
Also, the doctors are not allowed to allow you to stay into a clinical trial if it's not
Right.
benefiting you, or if there's any type
Right.
of side effects that might pop up, they're obligated to pull you out of that trial as well. So I think
Yeah.
those are little things that maybe would provide a little bit of safety or comfort for people, but they're just
Yeah.
not aware of that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, honestly, before I did the podcast, I truly wasn't aware that we had that much power and knowledge
Mhm,
that we could get out of the study that I wasn't really, I've never actually been in a study
mhm,
yet. And I mean, I've had relapsing remitting MS forever. So, and I have never done a study. So I've never been in a trial or anything like that. So, would I do one? For sure. I just
yeah,
haven't been in
same.
one. So, yeah. So it's
Mhm,
kind of crazy, but I haven't. So talk to me now. We're talked about going into the clinical trials and doing
Mhm,
that, and you're still doing that.
mhm.
And now moving forward, I know your doctor. So tell us who your doctor is because she's very
Uh,
well known and we love her.
she is very well known, and she's a blessing. Her name is Dr. Mitzi Joy Williams. She's here in Atlanta as well. She has the Joy Life Foundation as well as the
Yeah.
Joy Life, Wellness Center.
Yeah. So that we're all jealous of you right now because you have her as your neurologist. Like, wait, what? How'd you get her? So what an amazing doctor that you have. I think it's just really great. And as I've read more about what you're doing, I just think it's so completely amazing and just we need more people like you. We need more advocates that go out and do what you're doing.
Thank you.
And that's yeah, I mean, it's the part of my podcast I love is having doctors on, people that are creating just devices and things that help us, but
Mhm.
also the patients that are doing some amazing things, and you're doing that.
Thank you.
So I love, I mean, yeah, I mean, thank you for doing what you do. Um, I love the fact that you love to work in movement. I mean, that caught my eye right away when we talked about that, since that's my life is helping people with autoimmune diseases, a lot
Mhm,
with MS understand movement is more independent for us. And when we stop with that, that's when we get in danger and muscles atrophying and
mhm,
our inability to do the things that we want to do.
mhm,
And I'm always surprised when I offer something and it's like people will want to share their story and do anything but getting up to do movement.
mhm.
And so I'm just like, what? Because it's such a mindset for me to move.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about this before. I'm such a rule follower. And it was the one thing when I was diagnosed a million years ago, that was back when they were like, just rest,
Mhm.
don't do anything. We need you. And I was like, what? Like, no, that's not happening. And being an athlete, it just made no sense to me.
Yeah.
And this is back, when they had the VHS tapes, a little
Mhm.
older than you. And so I'm like, what are they saying? I get to take a stroll. I'm like, this ain't happening. So I just got on the track and started running. And so
Glad you
probably
did
made
that.
it was, I think too, a lot helped. I remember getting an infusion back then in the hospital. And so I was with everybody. I was with people that had cancer, and all of them were so good about talking to me, just not stopping. Don't just lay around. Don't do what they tell you. Just move. And that was their biggest regret are the people that did stop.
Mhm.
And because they once they stopped, it didn't come back. And so that's why my podcast is called Move It or Lose It,
Yeah.
because I'm like, there's nothing I'm willing to lose. So I'm not going to stop any part of my body. So when did you decide movement has to, I'm not doing this? When did you decide that movement was something that you were going to tackle?
I think it was a combination of things, to be honest. I've always been into sports and fitness. My family is very athletic as well. My brothers actually played football at Michigan. And so we, as a family, are always doing something active, always watching
Yeah.
sports. And
What
so,
year did he play?
um, 2000, forgive me for the dates because they're a little younger.
Okay.
If I graduated in 2003, I think one graduated in 2005,
Sorry,
2000.
Sophia is making an appearance on the podcast. Sorry. So go ahead.
2005,
Uh,
2006-ish, and then the next one graduated in maybe 2008 or 2009.
okay. Did both of them play or the
Yeah,
one, just one?
both.
Okay. What are their names?
BJ is the first one,
BJ.
Rima,
Okay.
and, the second one is Ohene. Both
Okay.
same last name, Opong-Owusu. Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
that's really cool. So are
yeah.
they, when you were diagnosed, are they really supportive of what you're doing?
Yeah, they are supportive, they're supportive, but my family is like a tough love type of family, so even with
Yeah.
and us always being active, I don't think they really could comprehend that when I was diagnosed, although you couldn't physically see differences or
Right.
changes in me, myself saying, "Oh, my leg is tight," or "My leg
Right.
be I don't feel like I can jog," they weren't really understanding that. They're like, "Well, what do
Yeah.
you" type of thing. So,
Well,
um
girlfriend, I got to tell you that 20 something years later, I can still do a lot. And so nobody gets when I'm tired or
yeah.
when I'm like, mom needs to put her feet up. They're like, what's wrong with you? I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm like, it's sometimes it's like I don't want to look sick, but
Mhm.
I'm like, I need to rest. And like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you're still sick. I'm like, yeah, it's not away. It didn't go
Mhm.
away. So I
And
need
that's
to
why they
rest.
call it, the invisible illness,
Exactly.
because people don't necessarily see you, and unless they see
Right.
something physically ill, they don't
Right.
think that something is really wrong with you. So,
Yeah.
with that, they have always been supportive, the more that I share with them about the symptoms initially of
Right.
diagnosis, they
Yeah.
understood it more, and so, with all of that and me noticing that I was having, slowness in my left side,
Yeah.
pressure in my left quad. I had optic neuritis as well,
Okay.
when I was initially diagnosed. It was more so for me, I felt a little bit of emptiness and a little bit of
Yeah.
discouragement as well because I couldn't work out how I normally do.
Right.
So, it wasn't necessarily the MS that prompted me to start working out, it was always
Uh,
there. So, I just felt like I need to get back to where I was, or at minimum,
yeah.
need to assess how much stronger my right side is than my left side and try
Yeah.
to, counteract that or get back to where I was initially. So, I
Sure.
continued to try to move, I continued to try to lift and work out as I could. Initially, I could not jog or run, it was more so just a walk, but I
Yeah.
just pushing myself, and then, the jog was very, very slow, but it was
Yeah.
there, and I was happy about that because I'm like, "Oh, okay, I can jog a little bit."
Yeah.
Got better. So I would say, 2.5 to 3 months in after, like, my spasticity reduced
Uh,
drastically, I was able to get back to my normal intensity in terms of workouts, and
yeah.
today, I have minimal, if any, daily symptoms. I feel certain
That's
things,
awesome.
but now I
Yeah.
can kind of identify, okay, this might be the MS, this is just
Right.
a bit of tightness, and I
Yeah.
stretch and
For
or
sure.
sometimes I have to just, chill because I tend to do a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um
I knew that we were like this, very similar. When I thought I was like, oh boy, I know this. I get
yeah.
this, girl. I understand.
Yep, so
I'm
that's
always
pretty
pushing the
much
envelope.
mhm, that's
Now
pretty
my
much what it is.
daughter's older with her own baby, and she looks at me
Okay.
like, "You gonna slow down?" Or I'm like, "Yep."
No, you can't.
I
Yeah,
know.
this is how you are.
Yes. She's like, "You just push sometimes so hard." I'm like, "Yeah, that's what keeps me going."
Yep.
But it is. And I don't know about if you know this yet, but you'll learn, like, I've got 3 fingers that will go numb, and it's
Mhm.
kind of my warning. And I can keep pushing or I can listen. It's totally up to me.
Mhm.
But I'll have the little warning sign that says, "You may want to slow down." And I can just say, "Yeah, later." Or I can listen and slow down. So,
Yeah, I
uh,
think I'm slowly trying to identify that. I feel like
yeah.
there are times in which I feel, as I told you, my initial symptoms were like pressure in my quad. There's
Uh,
sometimes I start feeling a little bit of spasticity in my quad.
yeah.
And so then I'm kind of saying to myself, okay, well, am I triggering something? And I might slow down
Right.
a little bit. And sometimes I just kind of keep an eye on it. And if it's getting
Yeah.
worse, I'll say, okay, I need to lay down and stretch or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's
For
very
sure.
minimal that I feel anything for the most part.
Right. That's awesome.
Mhm.
So another thing that I'm really excited, I want to everybody to understand and talk about is you've got a big thing coming up in November, the gala that's coming up.
Mhm.
Talk, it's November 11th. Talk to us
November
about
7th.
what that is. What
Uh,
did I
so November 7th, it's called
7th. I'm so sorry.
no, it's
Forget
okay.
what I said. The 7th, not the 11th.
November
Scratch what I
7th
said.
November 7th here in Atlanta. It's called the Sick Kicks Gala. It's a play on words, obviously, but
Yeah.
it is a sneaker ball, former sneaker ball or formal sneaker ball, and it's essentially to not only celebrate those of us living with MS because it is a celebration, it's a fight every day for a lot
Yeah.
of people. So primarily a celebration, it's a fundraiser, it's a
Yeah.
learning experience, and it's just an opportunity to not only network within the MS space. So
Right.
I would like to see MS patients there, healthcare
Yeah.
providers, PTs, OTs, people in
Yeah.
the fitness and wellness space, and anyone that is a
I'm going to
support.
try to get my butt there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You bet.
essentially just, creating an event in which we are trying to have fun, but also networking
Yeah.
amongst the different people who make up
For
this
sure.
MS community.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that. And in that, are you going to be doing some movement stuff in there? What are you guys going to be doing?
We are, so we'll have a couple performances, there'll be
Uh,
food, there'll be drinks. Again, it's a party, it's a sneaker ball, so show off definitely your formal wear and your sneakers.
yeah.
And then I'm gonna take an opportunity, which I don't wanna tell a lot of it, but I'm gonna take an opportunity to definitely, expose people to
Yeah.
MS, some of the symptoms that people have with MS, as well as just,
Yeah.
facts and education
Yeah.
about
I
MS, but
love that.
in a fun way.
Yeah. Introducing the Pulse device, cutting edge wearable device, revolutionary wellness designed to stimulate circulation, reduce harsh pain and tightness, and speed up recovery. The Pulse device uses advanced vibrotactile technology trusted by patients, clinicians, and wellness professionals. Whether you're recovering from an injury, battling a neural condition, or just want to feel the best every day, Pulse helps you recharge so that you can live and feel better. Lightweight, powerful, and easy to use. Experience better performance, better recovery, and a better you. Order now and save $30 using my code MSDisrupted at pulsedevice.com. The Pulse device is your health recharged. You won't be disappointed. Get it now for yourself. I have it. I love it. Go ahead and grab it. Yeah, I love that. I love the whole idea of that. It just is really awesome. I
Thank
love
you.
that that's happening. Talk to me a little about the walk and talk movement.
Yeah, so Walk and Talks is an initiative that I started when I started the foundation, which the foundation is very new, just started in January.
Uh,
Um, and to be completely honest, the foundation was not something that I had on my radar. It's something that just kind of popped up. What I have always had on my radar is this gala, doing
mm,
something that's philanthropic. I didn't necessarily know what charity I was going to, raise funds for. And this is something that I used to think about over a decade ago. And the day that I got diagnosed, to me, it was like a light bulb. Well, this is the
right.
charity that I'm going to raise funds for. So the foundation kind of came out of that once I realized that I wanted to really make an impact in the MS space and
Yeah.
encourage people to move and, continue to exercise. And as you say, truly move it or lose it, because that
Yeah.
is the case, not only in
Yeah.
us with MS, but people with, healthy individuals
Right. Absolutely.
have to move it or lose it. So
Yeah.
with the foundation, I started that, and, we started the walk and talks, which are
Mhm.
monthly meetups, essentially informal meetups at the park, in which people are encouraged to just come out and not necessarily talk about the MS, not necessarily
Right.
have any fear in terms of your ability to move. Obviously, you will have to be able to walk, but it's just
Right.
encouragement to, foster community, peer support,
Yeah.
and sometimes even accountability. Just come out and
Yeah.
you're meeting someone else and just walk and talk.
For sure. I think that it's so important for I love what you said about the accountability because we know there's so much depression that is a symptom of MS.
Mhm.
And that accountability is so important because oh, that they're expecting me. And
Yeah.
sometimes we just, even if it's not, we're not feeling sick, it's easy to just say, yeah, I'm just not feeling like I want to do this.
Mhm.
And even if I go, who really cares if I'm going? And we can get into that crappy mindset that I'm not enough or why bother, and it really is, it gives purpose, and I think that that's so important what you're doing because there is so often that I see in the MS community where they just don't feel like they have purpose, and
Mhm.
so it is so important what you do. And what have you seen in this? I know it's new, but what have you seen that has really, if you could think of one thing that has really just you've walked away from it and just thought that was awesome?
I would say it is new, and so I would say that the audience has not been as great as I want it to be yet. We have had a lot of people be interested in it. A lot of
Uh,
people register for it. It is a free event. People register, and then unfortunately, people don't show up. And again, that might be because,
sure,
oh, I don't want to go, or they're fearful for
sure,
whatever reason. But for those that have showed up, they've expressed gratitude. They've
yeah,
just being glad that they got out and moved.
sure,
Some of these people are people that have expressed that they would like to do more of that, but they just don't.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
think that gives them an opportunity to say, okay, well, this is something, not only am I working out, but it's also social, and I can meet
right,
other people and just, have conversation with people. So
yeah,
it's gratifying to know that, even if you're helping someone in a very small way, like, it is
Sure.
making a big impact in their life.
How do you go about letting the community know? What platforms do you use?
So, primarily Instagram,
Okay.
Instagram really, I have been reaching out also to, of course, Doctor Williams's office,
Uh,
their patient clientele. I have been working with the Shepherd Center here in Atlanta as well, so I
mm,
disseminate the flyers to different organizations, and hopefully they are disseminating to their patients.
that's really awesome. I love that. Have you been able to go on any other things to be able to connect with any other um, because I'm thinking of people that I can connect you with right now.
I
So
appreciate that.
yeah, because I mean, it's just such an amazing thing. So I'd like to be able to connect you with some people that I know. So I'm gonna try to do that as well. And
Well,
so
I
you're
appreciate
raising
that.
money, absolutely. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing for me that I've always felt since I started all of this is collaborating is so great. And I mean, that's why I'm having you on, whether or not, I don't understand. I never have the competing. There's enough
Yeah.
of us to go around that, and helping us. I never understand the competition thing. I remember when I first started, there were so many, big franchises, and I remember them telling me like, "You'll never make it," and I'm like, "What? Who says that?" Like, we're here to help people with this disease that we have.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be I thought people would be excited and say, you're going to do great. And like I would do, or you would do. And instead, it
Mhm.
was like this, it was this, this thing of like this competing. And I'm like, no, collaborating is success. That's what makes success. Competing
Yeah.
is insecurity. To
Yeah,
me,
I
that's
agree.
just insecurity.
I agree.
So
And I
I,
I like that you said that because I feel the same way, and I think that, everyone has their lane essentially. There might be some crossover in certain aspects.
yeah,
Again, we're all trying to help, people in this
exactly.
community as well as other people. But, even that is a real feeling because there's sometimes where I've second guessed, what I'm
Yeah,
doing. Is there
sure.
space for this? I know that it's important. I know that there's an unmet need there. I know that me
Right.
as a patient, I feel that exercise and movement is underemphasized in terms of,
Oh, for sure.
management, but there's still sometimes questions as to, okay, well, are people really gonna stick with this? However,
Yeah,
I have to remind myself that even the bigger organizations, they started
right.
small and they started somewhere.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
You're 100% right. And we all have that imposter syndrome. Like we know we're doing the right thing. And I know what I'm doing is correct. But, I get that too, where I want to do something and, a client will have to leave because, their husband lost their job. And
Mhm.
I'm like, great, I'm not doing this right. And it's, you get these crazy thoughts and you just have to kind of sit for a minute with yourself and think, no, I'm doing this right. I'm doing what I'm supposed to. I'm teaching what I'm supposed to. I'm helping with movement, but it doesn't mean that every person is going to do it. But I know what I'm doing is right. Like what you're doing is amazing. And it may take a while to catch on
Mhm.
because like we talked about, I can put on a program for free and I have
Mhm.
and I never get why there's not 20 million people signing
Yeah,
up for this.
you
How
would
many
think you
people?
would think that
Yeah,
free means people are gonna jump to it,
right.
but it doesn't
They
necessarily mean
don't.
that.
And a big thing with my clients, I always say to them is, I can't want this more than you want it.
Yeah.
I can't get on a Zoom with you and teach you, but I want this more than you want movement. So
Mhm.
it has to be something where I'm showing and I'm passionate about it, but they're just kind of like, whatever. I'm just like, no, it has to be you want that independence.
Yeah.
And so I love what you're doing. Talk to me about the minority stuff and how you're doing that.
Yeah, so that necessarily hasn't started yet, but my background, as I mentioned earlier, in clinical trials
Mm,
research and just wanting to facilitate more diversity in clinical trials,
yeah,
would love to see more diversity in MS trials. I would love to see
yeah,
more MS trials in general. And with that
yeah,
being said, I also want to see more trials that include some type of component with exercise and
yeah,
movement. Because I do
absolutely.
feel that, even with the DMTs that are out on the market,
Yeah,
if they incorporate some type of exercise in the clinical trial,
mhm,
they may be able to see better benefits, in
yes,
terms of what
absolutely.
the drug already does, reducing relapses,
Yeah,
disease resilience, all these things. So, I would love to see that. With all of the events that we do, especially the fundraiser, the funds
Yeah.
are going to go towards minority research as well as our
Mhm.
exercise initiatives. So with that,
Yes.
I would like to provide, fitness kits for
Yeah.
served communities, whether that's just a resistance band or something small.
Yeah.
People can actually use something that's mobile as well with them. And then
That's
also
awesome.
provide maybe what I've thought about is transportation grants for people because sometimes I've noticed in clinical trials research
Uh,
in underserved communities,
yeah.
transportation might be an issue in regards to people getting to their clinic.
Mhm.
So if they have the
100%.
help with that, then, takes away some of the barriers that people have to eliminate them from being compliant in their clinical trials.
I love that. Yeah, I hear that often is I would do it, but I don't have a way to get there. And we
Mhm.
know with the I can think of clients I have that are wheelchair bound and they have to wait for I've got a client in California and he's been left on the side of the road for
Mm,
hours because they're late and they don't have enough right now with all the pandemic stuff still there's not enough employees so they'll be super late. He'll miss a doctor's appointment. And because they'll get there and they'll say, You're an hour late. And he's just like, I can't tell you. I don't know what to do. The transportation is crazy and it's all
yeah.
over the place. And so I love that you're doing that. And I've tried to work with some of the patient groups that are out there to have it highlighted that this is such a big problem. And
Mhm.
so I love that you're doing that. I think that's awesome. And I love that you're giving out I do a lot of resistant band work with clients. And I think it's just whether it's seated or standing.
Yep.
And I think it's really important. So I love that you're doing that. And again, understanding that this is going for so how do people that won't be able to be there how do they help support how can they
So, primarily through the website, which is
mm,
themisunderstoodfoundation.com and or Instagram at misunderstood_foundation. There is
okay this will all be at the bottom of the podcast
yes.
so you don't
Um,
have to pull over nobody has to it'll all be at the bottom
yep, so there are donation links. Any amount is helpful. Again, all of the funds will be used for exercise initiatives as well as the minority research component.
yeah
And, hopefully, if you're hearing this podcast or listening or watching this podcast and you feel compelled, please do come and show
yeah
up to support at the Sick Kicks Gala. Please
yeah
share the podcast and let anyone that you know that's in the MS space or affected by MS come out as well, because that's what the
yeah
funds will be going to. And this is our primary fundraising event. So hopefully
absolutely
we'll get a good turnout, but I'm looking forward to
yeah
it. It should be fun.
I think it's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna try very hard to get there, and I think it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to hear about it and more about it. I want to kind of have something before November, so
Mhm.
when we get closer to it, that I touch base with you and we do a little promo for it,
Yeah,
because I
definitely.
think it's so important, and I think sometimes things get lost, and with our MS brains and our cognitive stuff I
Mhm.
can put things on the calendar and it passes right by. And I'm like, oh. So I think it's even with my women's support group, we do like a week before, 2 days before, and then the day before.
Mhm.
So it's just, we can get crazy busy with stuff. So I'd love to do this a little thing before so that people don't forget.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah, so I will. Again, I am so grateful that you came on today.
You.
I think it was cute that you were like, "Why?" But I think that what you're doing is so amazing, and I want people to know more about it. And so, again, we're just going to keep promoting this. The gala that you're having, I think it's so cool. It's such a twist, and it's just so different. And I just can't wait to hear more about where you're going to soar to. And I love that you are doing this, not too long after your diagnosis. You just took
Yeah.
it and were like, I'm running with it.
Yeah,
And
I just feel like, with the movement piece, I have to keep
um,
moving myself. So I'm trying to encourage people, but I'm also, it's an encouragement for yourself to just keep moving.
yeah,
And at the end of the day, like, to be completely honest, it's not a terminal illness, and
right,
if I let the effects of, getting a diagnosis of MS affect me
right,
mentally or even physically, where
right,
where do I go from there? And so that's
right.
what I'm trying to counteract in myself as well as other people. Don't let the
Yeah,
diagnosis limit your life because you still have
right.
plenty of life to live.
Absolutely. And the idea of how much better you feel
Mhm,
mentally and emotionally once you exercise and do movement, it's like I want to just implant that into so many of our MSers because it's like you don't get it. That depression and all that stuff that we face, that anxiety, it is so much less when we get that movement in.
mhm.
So understand it, MSers, to get that. So it is. And Nana, I'm so grateful that you were on today. And I
Thank
can't
you so
wait
much.
for people to hear this and for us to do another little, one before this gala happens. And
Yeah,
I just,
definitely.
I'm jealous of your doctor, but I'm really happy for you.
She's
And
all over
what
the
a,
place, like, she's all
I
over
know.
the place. She's so helpful, like, I'm thankful for her, I'm very blessed to have found her
Yeah.
early on,
Yeah.
right after my diagnosis, so I'm very thankful for her.
And I am so grateful for you as well because it is I am thankful that you got her because it's really scary when I so often have people in the support groups and they're lost. They can't find a doctor or the things I hear about the doctors, what they said. I'm like, how did this happen? So I'm so grateful that you have her, that you've got someone that's so solid and just an amazing neurologist.
Mhm.
So yay, I'm grateful for that.
Me
So
too,
we will catch up and I know I can talk to you anytime and see how it's going. So
definitely.
good going. You just keep on pushing and I can't wait to see great things for you. And I know that's going to happen. So
Thank you so
you
much.
are an
Likewise.
encouragement. Thank you. You're an encouragement. You're a bright light to this disease. And I just am so thankful to have met you. And I think you're just going to be a huge, and you're going to be just a joy when people just talk to you and see what you're doing and a huge inspiration.
Thank
So
you so much.
I love you and I am so impressed by you,
Oh, I love you too,
truly.
thank you. Thank
You
you.
bet. So, guys, get ready to hear more that I'm going to be saying about her and get your pocketbooks out because I want you to be helping her. So, I can't tell if you're going to see this way or this way, but this is something we need to support and put your money where it belongs. And sometimes we can spend crazy money on stuff that is insane. This is something we need to put money into so we can see the benefits of this.
Mhm.
So, again, thank you so much. And um, again, subscribe. It means so much to us as podcasters when you subscribe. Often people think if they watched it, they subscribed, but no, you've got to hit that subscribe button. So I will see you guys next week. Have a great rest of your week. And again, thank you so much. Don't forget to take a look on the show notes, take a look at the date of the gala. And if you're near, please don't forget attend. So have a great rest of your day. Bye. And it was great to have you. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Move It or Lose It podcast. It would mean the world to me if you subscribed and left a review. Remember, you can find me on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, and YouTube. New episodes of the Move It or Lose It podcast air every other Wednesday. If you have any suggestions for future guests or topics, please visit my website at www.msdisrupted.com. Until next time.